channel. So this will be my first practical session. So the idea of this channel is actually to, start from the scratch, from the basic. So it's okay if you already understand some basics of .NET or C Sharp. It's totally fine. You can skip or you can wait till we get to the advanced session. So this basic start, I'm actually targeting audience who actually have no basic understanding of programming language, or who are actually new students in computer science, or who are actually curious about how technology works. So we will be starting from the scratch. And this is more like a course. It's going to be like a boot camp. It might take 3 months, it might take 6 months, but the idea is by the time we are done with all these syllabus that I outlined out here, so you would be on a better ground to software development. So follow me. I made this outline basically as a blueprint that we'll be following. So basically these are major introductions. So I wouldn't like I said, my audience are actually people that are clueless about programming language. So we are going to start with C Sharp. So first of all, before we even get into the syllabus, I will recommend that you go to Google, just type download Visual Studio Developer Edition. I will advise 2017. That should be enough for now. So then you can click on the first link. It takes you directly to the Microsoft resource site. So by default, it will bring you to 2019. But if you scroll down, you will see other versions. Um, you can do 2017, 2015, but 2017 is pretty fair for now. Then you just click on download. I already downloaded one, so here is it. I already downloaded one, so I would advise you download it. It might take a while, so you can pause this video, and once you get it downloaded, you can launch the Microsoft Visual Studio. On the other side too, there is you can as well download MS SQL Management Studio. So this is basically a database, Microsoft database server. We wouldn't be using that right now, but we will eventually use it along the line. So you can either download it now and click on the first link, or you can wait till we'll eventually start using the SQL server. So you click on it, you just click on download SQL server. I already downloaded one here, so I wouldn't need to do that. So you can download that now, or you can download it later. Either way, we'll still be using it. But we'll start with Visual Studio as well. So I want to assume that you've downloaded your Visual Studio. So you launch it. So now what we are going to do is, this is how we create projects in Visual Studio. If you can see in the syllabus, so here is introduction to project and solution in Visual Studio. Okay, so for the first timers, you can click on, you can literally come somewhere and click on new project or open project, but just go to the easiest way. You just click on file, click on new, click on project. So that will bring you, it will pop out this dialog. So we want to go with console app. For now, don't worry about every other thing you see here. For now, don't worry about every other thing. As a starter, just follow this footprint that I'm outlaying here. Everything will still make sense as time goes on. There is a lot that can be done in this Visual Studio, but for now, just follow the steps. So after clicking on new project, go with console application. You can see, right? So you can give your project a name. Let's put it on, let's give it like first tutorial. So that will be the name of our project. So the location here is where the project will be stored on your system. Okay, this will be the solution name. Like I said, the solution is actually the main body of the project. I'll explain that after creating the project. So don't worry about all this. These are by default. So create directory for this solution. Yes, it should create a directory where we can actually access the project on your system. Don't worry about the Git for now. So just click OK. Okay, it's going to create the project for you the moment you click OK. It's a little bit slow, so you might want to like pause or skip that part, but it will create the project for you in just a matter of seconds. So you can see it says creating project first tutorial. So it's creating the project, and you can see down here, creating project for tutorial, project creation was successful. Okay, so if we click on the right solutions, okay, it's created a project. You can see first tutorial. Can you see solution? So in the solution, that is the main body. It says I have one project. So even in the solution, I can create another project. I can just select add new projects, or I can add existing projects. Also, the solution is actually the main body. In the solution, we can have several projects. So like I said, the solution can be something like the major body, the major container. So in the solution itself, we can have project 1, we can have project 2, we can have project 3, as much as project as we want. So even in between the project, we can always reference one project to the other. So this project can actually get resources from this project. This project, you can reference it, but that is a little bit advanced for now. Let's just take it one step at a time. So now we have created our project, and if we look into the resources, so we'll see that it says entry point method main. Okay, so in the project itself, this is a class. Okay, this is a class, and in the class, the namespace, look at the namespace, it is the same thing as a solution. So now you can see in the namespace, we have a class. In the class, we have a main method. So that is the structure. That is the structure. First of all, I need you to like understand this. Okay. Just look at namespace and solution and the same thing. So don't get it confused whenever you come across, whenever you come across similar words. For now, at least, it could be a little bit complex, but for now, just look at the namespace as the solution. So this is the namespace. In the namespace, we have a class. In the class, we have method. And in the method, we can have all our implementations, okay? So look at it like this way. So there is no way you can have a method outside of a class, and there's no way you can have a class outside of, a namespace. So you need to understand this structure first thing first, okay? So, and this is how it works. So if you have a namespace, you have a open and close curly braces. So if I take this out, okay, so so for every time you have a namespace, there has to be open and close curly braces. That is what demarcates the territory of the namespace. Inside of the namespace, so you probably want to have a class. You can see even the class itself, it still has the open and close curly brace, which demarcates the territory. And inside of the class, you have a method, and the method itself still has the open and close curly brace. So understand that structure very well. So for now, I would want you to digest that. Take your time to download the Visual Studio and understand how the solution works, and the project, which is similar to like the namespace, okay, and then the namespace has a class in it, then the class has a method in it. So the main method here is the entry point, will be the entry point to the application. Okay, so even in a class, we can have multiple methods. For example, in this class, I can have a method like, let me see. So first of all, like I said in my previous TED Talks, we want to always have a bigger picture of what to achieve even before we start coding. So for example, what if I want to write a program that, let me see, a program that can actually show me if if set of words are anagram. First of all, what's an anagram? Anagram is a set of words that two words contain similar characters. So for example, if I have dog, okay, for example, if I have something like a dog, let me try and use it as a text. So if I have something like dog, right, that's one word, and I have god, That's another word, and I have another OGG. So these three words here, they both have something in common. They have D, O, and G in common. Okay, so I want to write a program that can actually show me if a word is anagram. So what if I have something like KIM and I have LIM? So this is not anagram because even though they have I and M in common, they still don't have K and L in common. So this will not be anagram. It will return false. But if it is anagram, it will return true. So now this is the big picture of what we want to achieve, right? So now going into the application, what we'll do is, first of all, we'll need to create a method. Okay, inside the method is where we will implement our programming in there. So like I said earlier, what we are going to do is we are going to create something similar to achieving this goal. So what we'll do is we'll create a method. We already have the class, we already have the namespace, which is first tutorial. Then we already have the class, which is program. So even though we have a method, main method, we can have multiple methods in a class, just like we can have multiple class in a namespace. Okay, so that's how it works. You can have multiple class in a namespace, you can have multiple method in a class. So that is how it works. So now going back to the anagram, I'm going to create a method like a boolean method. So let me start with public bool is anagram. I'm still going to talk about data types, which is boolean. Okay, we have several data types, but let me just quickly try and show you how this method thing works. So now I'm trying to compare two words, right? So I'll have two parameters. I'll see explain what all that means. So in this method, the is anagram is a method. It is a method, okay? So in there I'll have word one, okay, um, word two, okay. So you can see I open the open and close curly brace just to demarcate the territory of this method. Okay, so now how am I going to check if this word one and word two are territory are anagram? So this word one is actually a variable. Anything can still, anything can be assigned to it. So what I'm going to do here is I would first of all, convert the word. The string data type is actually a data type that hold texts. Okay. So we also have a char data type, which is for character, which is each alphabet in the text. So now I'm first of all, what I'll initially do is convert this word into character because I want to read into each and every one of the character. For example, if I have a text which is God, and I have another text which is dog. So now, uh, in programming, it's literally I want to make it read one character after the other, which is it to first of all jump into G, look at it, jump into O, jump into D. So I'm going to demarcate that using char array. So I can do something like char, let me see, char S1 equal to, then I'm going to convert this word into char array. So it's equal to word1 dot to char array. Okay, so um so that way it has converted it into an array. Okay, so that way now the S1 would actually look through each one of the words in the to char in the word one and then give me the char array. I mean the each sequence of the characters in it. So I'm going to do the same thing for the second one as well. S2 equal to word 2 dot 2. So that is me just literally converting it into char array. So now what happens here is that uh remember, let's assume word 1 is God, okay, and word 2 is dog. So now what I have done here is I have changed it to something like this. I have an array, Okay, so now this G is an element there, comma, O is an element, D is an element. Okay, so that is what this char array thing has done there. So I'll tell you why it has done like that. I'm just trying to give a visual understanding as you go with me. Okay, D, okay, O, okay, okay, I'm not sure why. O, okay, G, D. Okay, so let's just assume, I'm not sure why that is not working, but that's just like a visual context. So now I'm going to check intro through it. So I'll do something like I'll convert it that to string. I'll sort it, and I have to sort it array.sort. So it should sort S1 for me. Okay. So I wanted to sort S1, and then it will sort S2 as well. Let me see. Okay. So something is wrong here. Okay, let me take out this dog here. Sorry. Okay. So now, what this sort is doing is it will sort it by in descending order. If it is dog, it will look through which one comes first as alphabetically is D, right? Followed by G, followed by O. It will look through the same it will also look through the array.sort as well, sort it. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to convert that back to a string. So I'm going to do string val1 equal to new string. Okay, so I'm converting that array to new string, okay, which is s1. Okay, I'm going to debug it so you see string val2 equal to new string s2. Okay, so what happened here is after sorting it here, then I change it back to a text. So both words will become the same text. I'll show you how. Okay, so now I have to put a conditional statement there, like if val1 equal to val2, then it will be anagram. Okay, return true, else return false. I'll still explain better, but let's debug first and see if it actually works. So I'll make it a static method so I can actually access it directly. So here I can say string m1 is equals to, let me say, gold. Okay, that's the first word, right? And if you want to use string, you have to put it in in the middle of an apostrophe. So that is like let's say it's gold. Okay, that's the first word. And let's say the second word is string m2 equal to silver. These two are not anagrams, right? So well, let's just see how it works. Then I'm going to call this method here. Okay, can do something like console dot write line, and in that I can just call the method itself in there, which is anagram. Then it will require, you see, it's asking me for word 1 and 2. So in this case I'll just assign m1 and m2 in there, so then it will just compare gold and silver. So I'll say m1 and m2. Okay, then console.readline. That's how we can actually access the results and make it readable. Otherwise, the compiler would just open and close it. Let's see how that works. First of all, I'm going to put a debugging on it so we can actually go with how it works. I'll still explain how debugging works, but let's just make sure this whole setup is working before we get started. So the entry point is the debugging is actually to see what is going on behind the scene. Okay, so it's currently building. You can see here it says build started. Okay, it's currently building the project. So the entry point would actually access the main method in the console application. Then from there, the more we trigger the debugging input, so it will go from there. um let's see how that comes up. So now debugging has started. You can see it changed to arrow here, right? Okay, so here we'll keep looking at it. It will keep going line by line. Okay, so now follow the things here. You can see the mouse, right? Follow the things here. So M1 is still null because it hasn't read the value of M1. Then stepping over, it captured what M1 is. It says gold, right? And it's a string type, okay, because it's a text. Then M2 silver, right? So now imprinting it is going to trigger this method, and then you jump here. Just watch. You can see it jump up here. So it's now going to start from here. Okay. So now the word one, you can see the word one has been silver has been assigned to word one, and word two gold has been assigned to it. Good. So now this method will now be comparing this. The implementation in this method will compare that. Let's see what happens. Okay, so S1, it still hasn't seen what is in the S1, but it knows that is a character array type. Okay, so let's see that. You can see, see S1, it says it has 4 characters, right? String to character array. Okay, so in the S1, let's bring it down. You can see it's actually assign it one by one. G O L D. Okay, so that is one character at each. One character each. It is no longer a text. It is now a character each. Okay, now let's look at S2. S2, you can see there are 6 characters. Okay, Silver. Okay, can you see the word 2 is one word, but now changing it to a character, it has assigned it to each character. So why I did that, why I use that style, is because I actually want to compare each of the letters in the word. Okay, so now I'm sorting it. I'm going to sort it, and you'll see what the sorting will do. Okay, now I've sorted it. Okay, so sorting it now, let's put uh key point on that. You can see, so D first. I'm writing gold, but it sorted it alphabetically: D, G, L, O. Now I'm sorting the second one. Okay, the second one is sorted also. Okay, if we look at that, EILRSV, it sorted it alphabetically. So, and then I'm changing it into a, a string, a text itself. You can see that is now a text. It's now a text. So if both value are similar, it should return true. So it wouldn't even jump because they're not similar. So it returned false. Okay. So then we'll see the result. So definitely they are not anagram. You can see the result, it says false. Okay. So now let's try and see if it's an anagram. Let me change the word here. Let me change this to God and dog. Okay, so we'll debug that again. And then let's do it again. Okay, so this will give a better explanation. God, dog, okay, to the method. So now I'm changing it to character. You can see in the character, now it's showing me that you can see that God one by one, and then the dog as well, dog one by one. Okay, so now I'm trying to sort it. Okay, it moved to the sort. You can see sorting it now makes it like DGO alphabetically, right? Then it sorts the second one as well. Even though it's God, God, it's still DGO. Both are DGO because they contain the same words. Okay, it sorts them alphabetically. Now, after sorting them, I change it back to a text. Okay, I change it back to a text, DGO. Second one also DGO. So now what I did here is if the first value and the second value are the same, even though it has, it has sorted it and then rearranged it here. So if they look alike, because they will eventually look alike once it's been rearranged alphabetically. So if they look alike, it will return true. Now it will jump into the true return. You can see it jumped there. Unlike the previous time, it just jumped to false. Okay. So then it ended the program. Now they are anagram and it returned true. You can see it returned true, right? So basically, that is how method works. Okay, so you can have multiple methods. You can have like multiple methods in a class. You can have multiple method, as much method as you want. So and then you can go into the you know main entry point and execute all the methods. So I'll still be talking more about the entry point because in real life projects we'll be implementing the methods. We might be having different entry points which will actually be user interface. So just look at this god and dog that I'm entering here. It will be like a user field in real application. User will input the data in there. The data will then trigger the moment you user send the request, the data will then trigger some methods in the application that will execute and then return the results to the user. So basically that is how method works. But for now, I want you to digest this, download your Visual Studio and probably play with this, and we go from there. We'll see how it works. So basically going back to so that is the entry method point, and then compiling and building project, we did that. Okay, so we compile the project. Okay, so that is how it works. And we'll also look at different valid forms of main. We'll still look at this in the next session. So I really hope you enjoyed this session. And if you enjoyed this session, please don't forget to subscribe. I'm willing to, start from the scratch and carry everybody along. And the best, you know, thank you can do for me is to subscribe to my channel and like this video. And if you have any question, just put it down in the comment section, and I would definitely reply. I'll check in the comment section. I'll definitely reply. All right. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next